Okay, hello and welcome. I forgot to turn on the music, so that is a big problem. So let's do that in real time. Sometimes things like this happen. Today is going to be a real quick show because I literally got to work in 10 minutes. So that's a big problem, but what are you going to do? Come on, baby. Okay, we did it. Nice, not too bad. So yeah, today we're going to review the live action shorts. Again, my bad for the witness, the rush of it all. Here we go. Got it. Now we're good. So 5 live action shorts. There's always 5 nominated, both animated and live action. You can see them all in one block if you're lucky in your city in a theater. If not, to be honest, I have to look up how you can watch these because I do recommend some of them. But yesterday, I went to go see the live action shorts. Unfortunately, usually there's always one that shines through. There's always one that is the obvious winner. There's always one that blows me away in multiple ways, and this year it didn't happen. That's probably because of COVID, but all 5 shorts were alright. But they're still worth talking about, so here we go. Again, fast pace here. Two Distant Strangers. Crazy, because it's the only one that's a comedy. Starts with a black man, after a one-night stand, goes to go home, gets killed by a cop. Literally George Floyd type of the way he died. And then he wakes back up like nothing happened. And this is a Groundhog Day, Edge of Tomorrow, Russian doll type of thing where the day repeats itself over and over again. So he gets killed by the same cop every single day in different ways. So it's kind of crazy how they turned this concept of, police brutality and the whole police brutality thing, you know what I mean? We're still talking about it today and turning it into a comedy. Like, that's how long it's been. It's still highly effective, especially the ending, because it showcases all the names, from George Blaine to Breonna Taylor to all the others, which are way too many, and they showcase some of them the way they died. A lot of them is like, on their way home or sleeping in bed or, picking up groceries, and they just, bad circumstances, sleeping in car, you know what I mean? And that was really, it got me. But the short itself was all right. I laughed a few times, but other than the gimmick, it's only good. 7. Feeling Through is actually, we'll do that last. Wide Eye, very special. It's the smallest one. Israeli, if I'm not mistaken. Dude's walking on the street. He sees a bike that's locked up. He's like, dude, that's my bike. So he calls the cops. He's like, yeah, this bike is mine. It's locked up. Can I break it open? Can I do whatever? The cops are like, no, you got to find the thief and then you call us, because then it's a whole situation. The guy comes out of the meat packing plant. He's the guy who stole his bike, but he didn't steal his bike, and it becomes a exploration of how human you can be when it comes to your own things, and how compassion is needed. I don't know. It's hard to say without spoiling it. But point is, there's like a baby seat on the bike. So the person that technically stole his bike, which is not true, somebody stole the bike, sold it to this person, and now it becomes a big disagreement that becomes bigger and bigger, and the conflict becomes bigger and bigger, not in terms of action, but in terms of repercussions for all parties involved. Let's just say there's like a refugee aspect, but still good. But because of its small scale, I had to give it a 7. Again, I should have done this better, but because of the tight timeline, this is all we got. The Present. Beautiful thing where a father and his daughter have to go shop. Thing is, there's a checkpoint in between. It's in Palestine. Again, I'm not going to go into politics of it because, to be honest, I might make mistakes. But he has to pass through the checkpoint to get to the grocery store, and he buys a fridge. Point is, that checkpoint is rough. Like, he gets detained. His daughter so long that his daughter pees her pants, and it's like a really sad thing, and he's just going for groceries. He ends up buying a fridge for his wife, brings back the fridge, and same thing. He goes through a lot of bullshit at the checkpoint with the armed guards. It escalates, and it doesn't have a bad ending, but it's certainly affecting, because imagine if you had to go get groceries and you had to go through soldiers who literally hated you just because of who you are. It's pretty, anyway, it was intense. 8 out of 10. Good stuff. Great stuff. The Letter Room is the most big, and to be honest, I don't want this to win, because it might win just because of the actors. It has Oscar Isaac, huge actor, by the way, and he's going to be Moon Knight, Marvel's Moon Knight. I cannot wait. Anyway, and here he plays a guard at a prison, a huge prison, like a state prison or whatever, and he's got connections with people on death row. He's one of those good guards, right? He gets a new job in the letter room, in which he has to vet every letter that comes in for drugs and for content. He has to read the letters a little bit just to see that there's no threats or terrorists or whatever. and he gets ingrained into like he reads the letters and he gets invested, which by the way is the same thing that happened to me when it comes to Velvet Evergarden, which I've been watching these. I have to watch all today. It's crazy. I'm like plowing through it. I have to do this anyway, so here we go. Might as well do it now. But I am invested in Violet Evergarden in the same way Oscar Isaacs becomes invested in the letters sent to the prisoners. It's too long, and to be honest, the story does not come together. I don't know. So, but it's still good enough so that the concept and the pushes it through. But yeah, it's all about compassion and letters sent to jail. Feeling Through is my favorite by far, but still not enough to completely win. It's a homeless young man who meets an older man who happens to be both blind and deaf. And so he has to help him. And the way he does this is he taps in his hand for numbers and for words. He literally writes them in his hand, the blind deaf man, so he understands. And the blind deaf man, he writes it in a notepad so he can write. And that's how they communicate. But it's very interesting to see that world. And we learn later on that the blind deaf man was on a date. So imagine being blind and deaf and being on a date and how complicated that would be. And also the young man being homeless. There's some compassion there. It's very interesting. So it's the most interesting, it's the most compassionate, and I feel like it's the best one. So yeah, Feeling Through. If there's one I recommend, it would be this one. But to be honest, you can skip all of them. Like I said, there's none that really popped, and I'm gonna go see the animated shorts Thursday. So chances are there'll be one there that's gonna be like mind blowing, and that I'll be like, you guys gotta go see it, right? So it wasn't a bad time. It wasn't that much of a sad time. But so yeah, that's it. I just wanted to cover it. So it is covered. Violet Evergarden. I started the first 3 episodes. I'm going to see the movie tomorrow, right? Sunday at noon. I've only watched 3 episodes, which means I have to watch like all the rest. I have to watch 8 episodes plus a movie just for tomorrow at noon. So I have to do it all night. It's pretty crazy. So I got to binge. And but I am invested in the same way. The cool thing about this is that it's a story about a weapon who is not an android, but think of an android, right? She's like 16 years old, and the war is over. The series takes place after the war, where she has to take upon a job to write ghost letters. So people come to this business because they're illiterate. They're like, look, these are my feelings. Can you please write a letter to my wife, husband, or whatever? And because she is a weapon, because she doesn't really feel like humans do, even though for all intents and purposes she looks human, she has a hard time connecting the dots in terms of feelings. So seeing her go through that, and it has a lot to do with, like, I relate, you know what I mean? Because this show that I do every day is me telling you my feelings. Like, I feel like that is so important, you know what I mean? Everybody being at one with your emotions is one of the best things we can do. And this is what this show was about, so I'm all in, baby. I'm 3 episodes in. The third one, I give it a 9. First one, I give it a 9. So cannot wait to watch the rest. And hopefully tomorrow should be a great time as well. And then Monday, I got Thirst, which is Chan Puk. Anyway, the director of Old Boy. Great Korean director. One of the best. Top 3. Easy. It's a vampire film. It's his vampire film. Very sensual, very sexual. So we'll see about that. So tomorrow, Violet Evergarden. Monday, we got Thirst. Finally, I just want to put this because it's dumb, but I usually put a meme, but I didn't have time. So here we go.
We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate
my Violet Evergarden Day. And that's it. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, man.